Well, good evening. Welcome to Davey's American Racing, coming to you live from Fallon, Nevada. Brand new year, 2025. And yes, that's right. I'm wearing my red hat for 2025. A lot of things have happened. Um, I top of my head, I don't know what happened. We got a new president. That's all I know. That's all I care about right now. Plus, this racing season started here, and we're going to wait a little bit. Um, I've been having some difficulties with StreamYard, as you noticed last year. I want to see if people are coming on when they punch the blue sign where it says StreamYard.com live for me, the program. And maybe one or two will come up on my comment section, but hopefully they'll pick it up on my regular page on the Davey Boy Racing on Facebook. We'll see what happens with that one. Yep, there I am right there. So I'll have to leave that one on to keep an eye on that while I'm broadcasting. Plus, we've got a couple of new announcements coming up. One of them who'll be here in a little bit, Lyle Hopper from the West Coast Pro Stocks. He'll be on here live. He's got some new updates. We talked about this last year, towards the end of the year last year, but he's got some more important information to start out. I think some of it's some schedule changing and a couple of more rules, I believe. But he'll be coming on and talking about that. Hey, I got Donald Cheers on here. How you doing, buddy? It's been a long time since I've seen you guys there in California. Or are you in California? I don't even know if you're still in California. But we're going to cover some things from Chili Bowl this year. And they're really going to cover is from Top Gun Track Trip. I'll be starting my fifth or sixth year as announcing out there. So we got a couple of things and a couple of changes there too for our Super Pro stocks there. I don't know if they're happy about it or they want it. Okay, you're still in California. And I also got another youngster I told you about from right here in Fallon, Nevada. I met him about 5 or 6 years ago. Started running go-karts in box stock. That's when I met him. And I noticed right off the bat that kid's going to be going someplace, and he is a good driver as well. And he's going to be moving up a division, but I'm not going to say what division. I'll let him say that because he's all excited about it. His mom and dad are backing him up big time on this move as well. Again, I'll have Lyle on here in about 15, 20 minutes because I definitely want to get him on there and talk about what's happening in the world of the Pro Stocks. Okay, let me go over here. So far, it's just you on there, Donald. Okay. I have to go back and forth. Oh, what else is going on here? Okay. Racing around Nevada hasn't started yet. It doesn't start till around mid-April is when it kind of starts warming up around here. But it's been unusual weather here, especially here in the month of January. No snow in Nevada or northern Nevada around here. We haven't not had one snow. We had a little bit of rain. That's about it. In fact, there was a couple, 3 times during the week, last week and the week before there. I was outside cleaning my yard up from the winter, all the leaves and all that. I'm in shorts. I got my front window open. That's how warm it is during the afternoon here. But it's very, very unusual. Like I said, we haven't had no snow at all. I'm sure we're going to get it all in February and March. But racetrack in California, some of them are opening up in February. I'll cover that next week. Let's see what else is happening. Then I'm going to talk about a little bit about NASCAR coming up next month. And I'll give you the top 10 from the Chili Bowl, from this year's 2025 Chili Bowl. I will say one thing, 392 cars entered for that 5 days or 6 days, whatever it is, starting on Tuesday. Dan McGee, how you doing, buddy? Let's see, great seeing you. Right across this Friday, I was just going to mention that too. Are you going to go, Dan? If you go, I'll go. I've been wanting to go either Friday or Saturday. Let me know if you go. And hope your health is a lot better. Ty Schmidt, how you doing, buddy? Ty was back there in Chili Bowl, enjoying all the days back there. Zoe, how you doing, sweetie? I'm going to have you call in a little bit. We'll talk about your business all the way from Merced, California. Well, at least I got something working. Last time the comments weren't coming up, but they're starting to come up too now. So I'm going to wait around for a little bit more for people to understand. Because right now, if I go to Facebook, where the bell is, it doesn't show that I'm on live like everybody else will, but it's not doing it for me. I'm checking it out. Nope, not doing it. So they got to pick it up as they do if they're on Facebook. So everybody go to my page. Lyle, don't fall asleep on me. Have some coffee or something. Say Rattlesnake Raceway, they don't start racing until about mid-April. So, like all the tracks here in Nevada. Talking about tracks here in Nevada, I'll be up in Elko, Nevada, up at Summit Raceway, doing some announcing, quite a bit of announcing this year with them. They invited me up there. Thought I can't make them all because it's a long trip. It's about 4 hours away from here. So, but I told them I'll make as many as I can. And we're going back into California, doing some announcing there, especially up at Cedarville, right? We're going to talk about that, Lyle. Lyle's got a big race coming up there in Cedarville this year. I just got quite a few big races coming up. We'll be talking about that as well. Okay, Zoe, I hope I'll answer. I might be busy. Well, you better not be busy, girl. Just pick up your phone when I tell you to, and then just call it in. Tell the other people, hey, I got something more important, so hang in there. Okay, we'll have Lyle talk about that in racing again here. Some of the big news in California, Bakersfield Speedway is closing down after I think it's 70 plus years they have been there. Let me go back up here. They're teaming up with Kevin Harvick at his racetrack down there at Kern Raceway. So Scott Schweitzer and Tim Huddleston got involved with this, got talking to Scott, and then start talking to Kevin, and they're going to bring that series over to Kern Raceway. But again, the sad news, Bakersfield Speedway is closing down after all these years. It's very sad to see that happen, especially to a lot of the racers around there, the local racers, a lot of the fans there. So, I mean, things change, unfortunately. But we still move on in the world of racing. Okay, go back to that page there. Hey, Greg, no, how you doing? I saw you someplace on Facebook, but I can't remember what it was. Well, anyway, how you doing? All right. I don't think I got anything else to cover around here. Oh, quite a few things are happening here in Fallon for me. I finally got my permit, nonprofit permit, so I can start doing a lot of things here, promoting and everything. And I'm just got to finish up my county paperwork. I found out I have to have the county too, since I'll be doing things in the town, city or town of Fallon, and then the county as well. The fairgrounds here in Fallon are in the city, but it's in the countries. But I have to have both licenses to be able to do things. So first thing I'll be doing a car show there in Armed Forces Day. It'll be a Saturday. We have a big celebration there at the fairgrounds. So I'll be bringing in a car show in for that. And another car show will probably be about 2 or 3 more before September. I want to make sure I get this one on September 5th at the fairgrounds, but also I'm going to combine it with Relay for Life. Relay for Life has not been here for quite a while. In fact, one of my bosses, which is a sheriff, since I'm with the Search and Rescue, the Sheriff's Office Search and Rescue, kind of hit it around. Hey, Relay for Life. All right, I'll work on it. So I brought it back, got a hold of the people from Relay for Life here in Northern Nevada. It'll be September 5th with the car show, so I think it'd be a pretty good thing to bring together both those, a car show and Relay for Life. And another big one. People have been bugging me about this for about the last 3, maybe 4 years. Since I got my license and everything out, I finally been able to do it. But everybody's been bugging me about the truck and tractor show we used to have here on the Octane Fest. And it brought a lot of people to the fairgrounds and the grandstand. So guess what? They're coming back to Fallon in, I think it's September, for our Cantaloupe Festival. They'll be here on Saturday night. So you people here in Fallon are tuning in. They're coming back. The truck and tractor booths, ML&M, out of Madera, California. Those are the guys who used to come here all the time. They're good friends of mine. I met them when I went to Madera Speedway the first year I was announcing there. Seems like a long time ago. It's almost 10 years ago that I've been gone. Holy mackerel. But anyhow, they'll be back here on that Saturday during the Cantaloupe Festival. Plus, we'll have a car show early in the morning, starting around 9 o'clock. for the Cantaloupe Festival too. And then we had that last year for the car show. Worked out really good. A lot of cars. A lot of people I haven't seen for quite a few from Reno and all over the place. Um, that showed up, as well as another car show I'll be doing in June. I think the first or second week in June. I got it written down someplace. I'll be going to Lovelock, Nevada, for the 2-day car show there. I'll get more information as we get closer to that. Plus, I'm going to have a lot of other things going on. Oh, you people here in Fallon and the surrounding areas here, on Saturday morning, starting in April, I got to pick up what weekend I'm going to start it on Saturday morning from about 9 to 1 p.m. I'm going to have a street fair. I'm going to close down Main Street from Williams Avenue to Center, and we're going to have a street fair. Food vendors will be there. You name it, will be there. Craft vendors. Where I got about 20 emails already since I put the word out that they want to help support it on Saturday mornings. So what I need to do is fill out a little letter, write out a letter, and take it to all the business people there in Main Street where I'm going to be shutting it down. I got to get their permission. They'll probably say yes anyhow because they love it when we do things like that. So once a month, all the way into September, I'll be doing it once a month. I'll put the schedule out for that when I get closer to it. I just got to get some of the other race schedules in so that way I can find out to work around it. But yeah, that's going to be very, very exciting. Fred White, how you doing, buddy? That's where I saw you something there, Greg. Somebody put up something that you were there at your slot car racing. I think that's what it was. Fred White, what are you up to? Are you going to race or what, buddy? Or the kids? Let me know. But that's about it. All right, let's get into some of this. I just got Chili Bowl and Top Gun Drag Strip to announce here. So let's go to Chili Bowl for the 2025 season here, or season, the race they had last week or 2 weeks ago. They had 392 entries. If you remember, in 1987 is when they ran the first one, and Rich Vogler was the main event winner on the very first Chili Bowl. And that was in 1987. And one thing, the promoters, after that race, they went completely broke. They were broke. No money at all. So they weren't going to do it the following year. But a lot of people talked them back into doing it. So they ran the second one. And lo and behold, they made some money. And look where they're at today. Making a lot of money. Plus 392 cars this year. I'm not sure if that's a record yet or not. I should have looked that up, but I didn't. All right, let's move on to that Saturday night main event for $20,000 to win. It's our boy Kyle Larson picking up that main event. In fact, Kyle won in 2020, 2021, and now 2025. So that gives him 3 main events there at the Chili Bowl Nationals. In second, Dyson Pursley. Third, Sean Golobeck. I met this kid when he was really, really young at Baylands Raceway when his dad was racing. His dad was a pretty good sprint car driver. But now both the sons were racing, but Sean moved on to it completely full-time. His brother kind of helps him out a lot. But wherever there's a big sprint car race in California or out of state or something, you're going to find him there and winning. He's got about 2 or 3 outlaw wins as well. But he finished there. Another California driver. Ryan Burnell, another kid I met when he was probably about 16, 17 years old, somewhere around there. And he's made a name for himself, which is good. And 5th, Landon Brooks. 6th was Michael Colford. Met Michael here when he was 11 years old when I moved to Nevada. And the tracks around here would not let him run the midget or the sprint cars in the state of Nevada. You can go to California, and they had a little bit disagreement having him run there, but look at where he is at now. In fact, he's about ready to make a move to NASCAR and get a ride there. Not full NASCAR, but into NASCAR, getting him started there. 7th was Logan Seavey. What a driver that guy is. 8th, Gavin Miller. 9th, Emerson Axum. 10th, Christopher Bell. I'm going to go to 11th. One reason. Corey Day. Ronnie Day's son. What a name he has put up for himself in the world of sprint cars and midgets. He's also another driver out of California making the move to get some NASCAR laps in as well. I think it's Hendricks that picked him up, Hendricks Motorsports. Okay. Hey, Alan Shafto, how you doing, buddy? I hope you got a beer in your hand. If you do, here, a little bit of toast to you, buddy. So what I do, drink water. Sonny Hober, remember you from Madeira Speedway? Hasn't been the same since. You know what, Sonny? It hasn't. I remember you, Sonny. It's good to see you on here. Yeah, I miss Madeira. It's one of the biggest things that I felt bad about when I left California is leaving Madeira Speedway. When I told Kenny they was really upset, along with some of the sponsors were upset as well. But I was there last year for one of the races. I was going to go back the second one for the $10,000 late model race down there. I got up early in the morning, Saturday morning or Friday morning. Yeah, Friday morning to fill up the truck, make my way to Madeira, put my card in and said, no can do card. Somebody had broke into my account and used my card again. That's the second time it's happened out of the same bank, but it's not the bank's fault. But so I had no funds, no nothing to get there. So I stayed home for that week. And I really wanted to be there too. $10,000 late model win. But I'll make my way back there. And Sunday, if I do, I'll get a hold of you. Okay, Fred White, getting up this year. Got a few things in the works. Let me know what that is, buddy. Dan McCormick is in the house. How you doing, Dan? No racing up there or in Quincy. Tom Duncan Racing. Hey, this guy is getting around all over the place. Here's another driver. I got to find he's going to be making a name for himself as well. He loves his racing. He loves that modified racing, and he pays attention to what he's doing. Okay, work car racing. You're working on a race car this year, Alan Chapel. That's good. Dan McCormick. Yes, you are in the house. Okay. All right, let's go to Top Gun drag strip. Like I said, I think it's my fifth year started, or my sixth year. I can't remember, as the track announcer out there. We open up Friday, May the 2nd on the quarter mile. We have a test and tune and practice event and jackpot racing that Friday afternoon all the way from 2 to 7 p.m. Then we come back Saturday, May the 3rd for round number 1 of our ET bracket race points. And after that, Saturday, after we're done with all that race point for the bracket racing and everything, we're going to have our 2024 awards potluck after there. We used to have it down there in Fernie at one of the buildings we used to rent out, and I can't remember. Hey, we got some people back there, but we decided about 3 years ago to have it right there at the racetrack. And guess what? Since everybody's there, everybody shows up to the awards banquet. It's a potluck dinner, so everybody brings different food in. But it works out really good. Everybody has a good time because they're going to be spending the night there anyhow. Everybody spends the night there because we come back Sunday morning, starting at 8:30 for round number 2 with our ET bracket race points. And starting in May 16th and 17th and 18th, Friday night test and tune. Saturday, we got our nostalgic racing weekend. And these are cars that I kind of grew up with back in the 60s, 70s, and part of the 80s. They'll be there that weekend. They always put on a good show. There's usually about 15 to 20 of them that show up. And we'll cover some more. Oh, I want to cover this one here. Our $5 Friday events. We used to get a whole bunch of them on Friday nights, our $5 rush night. But last year we switched them to a Saturday night program to give them their own show, their own whatever they want to do. Nobody else, no ET brackets, racing, no nothing. But it didn't work out the way we thought. We lost money every time we put them on. So this year we're going to have 2 nights of $5 grudge racing, Friday, June 6th from 6 to 12, and Friday, September 5th. Oh, well, I don't have to be there anyhow for this one here. Friday on September 5th at 6 p.m. So I only give 2 nights for her grudge night racing. Of course, try to get everybody off the street from drag racing on the streets right there. Okay, Fred White. Are you going to be working with Sean DeForest? Is he still racing? I haven't talked to him for a long time there, Alan. On the dirt late models. That'd be cool. Okay, Fred, got 3 cars coming out, revamping our program, bringing Ground Zero Motorsports up to the times. Oh, that sounds good. Tom Duncan, thanks for the props. Just doing what I love to do. See, I knew it. Even your other half, she'd love seeing you doing that. Have a new wrap coming out. That'd be cool. And kids and Slim Chickens. I stopped in there, had some food there. It's good chicken there, Slim Chickens there. And Just Floors it are returning for the 25 season. Those are some of his sponsors right there. If you go up there in, I think it's in Sparks, maybe in Reno. I'm not sure the cutoff, but Slim Chickens there. Definitely go up there and eat. Good food there. Okay, Davenport. Yes, America is great again. There's right there. All right, enough of this. I want to bring Lyle Hopper on. He's falling asleep back there. I can watch this, so we better get him on here. Lyle, welcome to Davey's American Racing. We dropped off last year, the last show with you, so we're going to start the new year with you. And again, welcome.
All righty, Davey. Thank you so much for having me back on.
It's awesome to have you on here all the time. You know, I'm not going to waste any time BSing with you. We've known each other for
decades,
years with you and the family. Do what you do need to do. Get the word out.
So first off, if you folks have any questions as we go along, please text Davey and he'll forward them to me. But what we're announcing about tonight, we want to make sure people are aware that Stockton Dirt Track and Fred's swap meet, the February 8th Stockton swap meet is on, rain or shine, and it's everything. It's sprint cars, it's stock cars, it's modifieds, it's drag cars, it's street hot rods, anything automotive, and Tony's putting it on no matter what. And that kind of leads into the second deal. We'd made an agreement with Tony to run a number of pro stock races at the Stockton Dirt Track this year and partner up on that. Well, that has kind of morphed into, he has asked me to act as race director along with his regular team of Mike and the girls, Heather, Amber, Danica, that normally run a lot of his program. And these girls are sharp. The more I've worked with them, they know their shit. They know their stuff racing.
I like shit better.
They're really good at it. So I'm going to be the race director for the Fendered shows at Stockton this year, of which we have for the West Coast Pro Stocks, we have 5 events there. We're going to be starting the West Coast Pro Stocks at Placerville. What was that going to be? That was April 12th. And then on to Santa Maria, and then our first race at Cedarville on the 10th. And then we have a follow-up Cedarville July 19th. Those are the ones you're going to be announcing at unless something's changed. Correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, because I already got you lined up. I got the scorekeeping lined up. I'm going to be going up to that track in a few weeks. We're going to be putting in the scoring loop, reconfiguring it, and fixing the dirt issues up there to make it a more viable track. Donnie Richards
I talked to Gina Gonzalez last night about it.
Yeah. Well, Donnie Richardson was kind enough to step aside and let me take control of this. And he's even going to race if his personal life allows him time-wise to.
Yeah. It'll give him more time to race. Concentrate.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big commitment. And since I'm already stepping into full-time promoting again, which I hadn't planned, but you can blame that all on Robert Miller getting this started again back in 2015.
If he started that for you, you need to get him back in a seat.
I have been yelling at him, and we have a tentative plan for this year. So that goes on to the next thing. WestCoastProStocks.com. The website is up. The rules for the West Coast Pro Stocks are there. The schedule is there. We have click-on links for a number of our sponsors and companies, everything from Hoosier Tire to Brand Creative, etc. So Tony came to me earlier in the year. We were going to do a February 15th race, I think it was, and I thought that was a bad idea because of the way the weather was. Well, the weather has cleaned up. So now Tony is putting on a race and asked me to take care of this one. Even though I'm not the sprint car guy for his track, I'm going to do this one. So on February 22nd, we're running a 360 A-Mod, Sport Mod, and Hobby Stock show. That's a Saturday. We're going to do an early show so that we can get in and out in time. We're paying $2,000 to win for the sprint car main event, $300 to start, $1,250 for the A-Mods, $150 to start, $500 for the Sport Mods, $150 to start, and $400 to win and $50 to start for the Hobby Stocks.
That is a lot of money right there, buddy.
Well, we're putting in a commitment on this, and this is part of why Tony and I partnered up to make sure that with everything that's going on, and you've already touched on some of it. Last year, I had tentative dates, a 2-day big 4th of July thing at Wairika. I had Susanville, Quincy, Hanford, and some tentative possibilities at Oildale and other tracks. Those tracks are all gone. They don't. They've closed up. So that put a big hole in my schedule. And him and I got to talking about this the end of last year before the promoters workshop. And we're looking at Stockton as a prime location. There's a way to pick up a lot of this slack and give racers a better purse. If they can support us, we can support them, kind of thing. So we're going to do this as a building year and try and put up some money and get folks in on top of that. So that works into the Al Miller Memorial is going to be on May 24th on Saturday. That is going to be a big money. I've already got people sitting in sponsorship money for that deal, and Dan McCabe and myself haven't even got onto that. Anybody that needs questions answered about the Al Miller Memorial for 2025, please contact me. Randy has given me, and Robert has given me full control of that so that they can just go and race, which leads us to, there's a little debate on who's driving the High Five Pizza a Winning Attitude Pro Stock between those guys, but somebody's going to drive it. But Randy also has his hobby stock. So the Millers will be there for that race. We're trying to make that a pretty big purse for all divisions. Having said that, the question has come to me quite a bit. What are you doing for hobby stock rules? Because the A mods and sport mods, we're running the Watsonville, Merced, Antioch rules, which is basically, that big division back in the Midwest I won't name. We're running those rules. For the hobby stocks, we're kind of taking a thing from Jerry Bartlett and Cooper along with Jimmy Pettit. I had a long talk with Jimmy several times, and he said, why don't you just use the Pettit rules and make a couple of modifications? So if you're running a hobby stock all this year at Stockton, including the February 22nd, but the other 4 races that you're going to be available to, you got a floater rear end, you can race. You got a standard rear end, you can race. We just hope you have the interior made the clip to keep that axle from popping out. You got headers, you can race. You got stock manifolds, you can race. We will be on the header cars adding a 50-pound weight penalty to offset the 30 horsepower so that they're going to have. But Tony has been out at the track numerous times in the last 3 weeks, already working on it. And he's got Pageant. He brought him on board at the end of last season, the last few races, and they fixed a lot of issues at that track. And it's gotten better. Even High Limit contacted Tony about, hey, your track's good. We want to get a race, but they were unable to get that worked out for this year. So we're working on Stockton track. I'm going to be going up and working on Cedarville, and we're going to try and, the Cedarville deal, I mean, that's a kind of an anomaly. You've got a huge crowd for a 2-time-a-year track. At Stockton, what we're trying to do here is start a program to where 2026, we can have a full season of all those divisions.
Yeah. Well,
and pay better than anybody else in Central California. That's the plan. If it works, great. If we don't get the support, then, Tony will rethink it. This is a business.
Well, the way I see it, especially with the hobby stocks, sometimes some of these tracks have a big car count for these hobby stocks and don't pay that much. But you get this ride, you're going to have a big, big show there, buddy.
Well, that's what I'm saying right now, just for this throw together race. And we're calling it the February 21st race, just a race for fun, because there's nothing else going on. I mean, we're paying $400 to win and $50 to take the green flag in the hobbies. That is probably, it's not firm yet, but that's probably going to be the weekly show pay for the events that are standalones, where it's pro stocks, A mods, sport mods, and hobbies. We're still going to pay that same amount.
We're going to expect some of those guys from Central Valley, Bakersfield, even Bobby's further than that to show up for that.
Right. Well, the key that we're doing with the hobby stocks is the only universal thing that we're going to make happen is they got to run a 4412 carburetor. You can run a performance intake manifold, aluminum performer, or a GM aluminum, or you can run a cast iron. We don't care. No bigger than that. No air gap manifolds, but you're going to run a 4412. And we have the kit, the NASCAR style kit, for completely inspecting these. It's not just the go gauge. It better be a 500 CFM carburetor. If it's not, you're going to get DQ'd. We're not playing games with that. But that's the equalizer to make these cars, an older Camaro or a new metric car, competitive with each other. And you don't have to go out and build some of these IMCA stock car guys are spending 15, 20 grand on a motor. We don't need that. That's what's killing the class, which then hurts the tracks, which then the tracks go away. It's a vicious cycle. So we have all that going on. I mean, back to the West Coast Pro Stocks. We're going to be running Placerville, Santa Maria, Cedarville, Stockton. We had some tentative agreements with a couple of other tracks. We're going to bypass those at this point because there's been some things there. We are supporting the regular Superstock show at Placerville. We're going to be there with myself and a couple of my guys that want to run just our stuff. We're going to go to Petaluma, and run a couple of their standard Superstock shows in conjunction with Outlaw Pro Stocks. Outlaw Pro Stocks out of Oregon moved a couple of their dates so that they could be at the July Cedarville race and the Miller race.
Oh, more cars.
Right. So, and the thing about the Miller race is it's not IMCA this year. So you can jump. You can drive 3 cars if you want without any problems. We're not going to have to adhere to the IMCA situation where you have to declare your division. So you want to run a sport mod and a hobby stock or an A mod and a sport, whatever you want to run, you can run multiple divisions for the Miller race. The payout for that will be coming out probably 3 to 4 weeks before the event, but you might as well mark it on your calendar. There is one issue with that event. Because of lack of coordination, it goes right over top of the IMCA clash that's being put on. It happens to hit on the Merced part of the clash. We're unhappy about that. We tried to coordinate that after the fact. It's not gone nowhere, but I mean, we've already so committed, we can't back up the bus. We were asked if we could move that to a Monday. Tony talked to the fair board and they were like, no. So we're stuck. We have to do that. So hopefully we can talk to the folks from Merced maybe one more time and see if they can't adjust around it. But if not, we're going to run. That's just the way it is. We've already got money committed. We're not changing that. And we're hoping for support. Speaking of which, I'm going to go back to the February 22nd race. I've already got commitments in the A mods from Justin Crockett because he's running A mods this year. Robbie Sawyer and Bobby Hogue. They're all going to be there.
Oh, cool. I haven't seen Robbie for quite a while.
He's coming up. And don't be surprised if he doesn't end up at a pro stock somewhere through the course of the year racing. Just let me say that. There are a couple of other.
We always need somebody like Robbie to be around.
Robbie's driven for me a couple of times, and one thing you can guarantee, he's going to be on the gas.
Oh yeah.
I think Gallagher, whose car he's driving right now, they found that out in Arizona. Robbie is an on the throttle guy, so he always brings some excitement. Which is the other part.
So does now Bobby. Oh, I love to watch Bobby race.
Well, I mean, little Bobby used to dive out of his bed so I could go to sleep on it when I was picking up Big Bobby to go to a 2-day show, and we'd stop at Salinas, spend the night, and go. I've been around the Hogues for quite some time. I mean, you may remember when Big Bobby, which is Bobby Hogue III, when he ran sprint cars. I mean, the vivid memory I have, my car was destroyed. Him coming onto the track, coming up the ramp and turn 2 onto the back straightaway, all 4 wheels in the air. So Big Bobby,
one of those? Oh shit!
Yeah, Big Bobby was always spectacular, and I thought to myself when I saw that, well, I'm glad my car's destroyed and I'm not in that heat race. So Bobby, the Hogues have always been exciting, and little Bobby is just an outstanding racer, just like his dad. So what do
I wish people could see his accomplishment in racing. If he wrote a book, it'd probably be thicker than that right there.
Oh yeah, either one of them individually are a viable book, and you put the two together. I mean, it's some great stuff. Anyways, the Hogues are coming to our February race along with Sawyer and Crockett, and I know for the Miller race, Crockett's going to be bringing his A mod, and Frank Nyback, who was the tri-state champion a few years ago, had bought that car. They're probably bringing that as what Justin did. So the Miller will probably be a pretty big show as well, especially the money we're going to throw at it. So anyways, we have the season is up. You can go on to westcoastprostocks.com, see the schedule. We've got the swap meet coming up on the 8th. We have the February 22nd 360 A mod, sport mod, hobby stock, which we've outlined the payout on. I am trying to get the word out to the sprint car guys. I called Brent Kading the other day and talked to him about it. Matter of fact, he's the one that encouraged us to do the 300 to start for the 360s and try to get the word out there. So, because there is one other sprint car race in Central California the same day. But it's kind of a limited group that normally only runs that track, and there's only a handful of guys that would transfer back and forth.
Can you say what track it is?
Marysville.
Marysville, yeah. So
Tony reached out to Dennis Gage to explain what happened, that we didn't realize we were stepping on it at the time that we committed. So, you've already told the fair board you're going to give them the rent and you're going to go forward with this, and I started promoting, and there you go. So, that's the deal. We're gonna run this February race. So any of the sprint car guys that are out there, please get the word out. Did you say Ty Schmidt was watching?
Yeah, he's still on. If he's still on,
still on, Ty? All right, I got something for you, buddy. On the second Cedarville date in July, we're going to be running a vintage super modified dirt thing. I've already got Rick Hurst I'm going to put it in between the pro stocks and the hobby stocks. Rick Hurst is already committed to bring in 6 cars. My cousin's bringing his, and we're going to run these vintage supers in a real race on dirt. But for you and the gang there down in San Jose, on August 23rd, Tony has allowed us to bring our new vintage super modified group to Stockton, and we're running our race at Stockton. This is real racing, not parade laps. Cars have to have full safety equipment, containment in the seats, proper helmets, fire suits, belts, all that stuff, but we're racing. We're going to see about what we can do to scrounge up some purse money on that. But Tony has okayed us to stick that in there on his open wheel weekend with the other super modifieds and the Legends of Kearney Bowl. We're going to run our NorCal upright super modified program that we're running at Cedarville. Those 5 of those dirt cars are not going to run Stockton, but we have the other guys from Lakeport and Ukiah have said they'll join. So we've got like a commitment from about 9 guys for that. And we're working on that. So we're going to, you and I are old school. We watch the old San Jose Supers. Well, there's enough good cars that are recently built or new enough, and they want to race for real. There's no rules on it other than normal racing rules. You got to have safety equipment. We'll figure out a purse between now and then. But the dirt guys, I was blown away that Rick Hurst wanted to get involved, but him and Bill Hopper have jumped on board, and we're going to do it. We're going to run them in the dirt.
Bill for quite a while.
Yeah. No, I just smacked him upside the head a few weeks ago. He's right here in Paradise.
He smacked you back.
No, he knows better. Are
you trying to say you know how to fight?
I may be older than him, but I am not dead. So yes, if anybody out there that knows any of the guys with vintage super modifieds, basically it's an upright is all we're asking. It doesn't matter whether it's coilover, torsion bar, or combo. Don't care if it's a dipped front axle or a straight, as long as it's a square tube car from mid plate to behind the driver or behind the driver's seat.
It's how many of those old super modified dirt super modified are around?
Well, Mike McCann has like 5 of them up there.
Does he?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So it's like, you know what? Let's get these cars out. Same thing as the Pro Stock originally started out with. Let's get cars that have been sitting around. And we got the old square tube NASCAR late models. We got some of these limited late models like I built for a while there for Watsonville. And then you had the Pro Stocks out of Nevada and out of Oregon. Let them all run, which is, again, what we're doing at West Coast. If you're a Outlaw Pro Stock, if you're a Pascar Pro Stock, if you're a SoCal Pro Stock, your car's legal to run. You just got to run under your exact rules. So, like the Outlaw Pro Stocks are on the asphalt takeoff tire. And part of my commitment with Scotty Flowers on supporting moving his dates to run with us at the Miller and the Cedarville, I promised to bring my car up and run with him. So he's going to loan me some tires, and we'll have to put on a weight penalty, and we're going to run and support their program at Medford. Same thing I'm doing at Petaluma. This is where we need things to go, in my opinion, is we need to be more cooperative about what we're doing with each other. And then, because we're losing tracks, and if we continue to lose tracks, we're going to lose cars. And on the West Coast is going to dry up. And, you know, I mean, when I talked to you, when I was at the Villages with my brother-in-law, the week after that, I had to go to Arkansas because my sister had passed away. And while I was there at the services, I went over to Batesville to my cousin's shop. And that whole Iowa, you know, Illinois, Arkansas, Oklahoma, East Texas, they're still racing 6 nights a week. They're still able to race for a living. And I granted the distances between tracks on the West Coast is greater. So that's why we need to do additional funding programs. That's like on my website, you'll notice that some of my races have the word tow money program on them. So what West Coast Pro Stocks is doing is the ones that have that, if you're towing for more than 4 hours to get to that event, you get on the list a week before the race. Once we see how many guys we have coming, we take the amount of money we have in our tow money pot. And when you walk in the back gate and sign in, you get paid for your tow money on the spot. That's what we're doing. And it's select events, but it's ones where some of these guys are going to have to tow 8-10 hours. I mean, it's 7 hours for me to get from here to Oildale. It's about the same to get to Kern. Okay. But, you know, some of these guys coming out, like the guys that are coming out of Fallon that are supporting the West Coast Pro Stocks this year, to go to Santa Maria, that's an 11-hour drive you're towing with a motorhome and a trailer, right? So no, I mean, if it's only $100, it's only $100. If it's 200, it's 200. Oh, you know, the price of fuel's down a little bit, but it's coming back up. But it's something. It's something to help out on top of the regular purse. So that's part of our program. That's what we're doing. I think
a couple guys here in Fallon will make the trip if they can.
Yeah, I've actually got a lot more support from that area. People saying that they're going to run with us for sure, run all of our races. You know, Travis White, Walter Ball, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A bunch of those guys over there. Antonio Aragon was going to run with us as much as possible. I still have not secured anything in Nevada definitely for this year, and it's not looking good for next year on trying to get some Nevada tracks into the series. But some of the tracks that I'm not going to this year, we're hopeful that the talks we had this year will lead to being there next year. We're trying to get to the 16 race format like before, knowing we're going to lose 1 or 2 races due to weather or whatever. So this year we're at whatever it is, 9 or 10 shows since I decided not to pursue these other ones and just kind of hang back and focus on Stockton and see if we can't make that a home base for a lot of guys.
Yeah.
So, you know,
what you're doing there at Stockton, I had this dream about 2 weeks ago, and I think it's going to come true. With the programs you're putting on, and I think one of those weekends, I see a $15,000 to $20,000 main event coming up in the future.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that right now, but I'm not denying that either.
That's the dream I had a couple of weeks ago, well, maybe about a week ago. But yeah, I got a funny feeling it's going to happen.
Well, you know, the Millers
who's on here? Eddie Hopper.
Oh, hey, Eddie.
Says, hi, Dave. Hi, cousin. You guys are doing great.
Well,
Ron Christopoli. You know, Ron.
Yep.
Howdy, guys. Lots of great ideas. Keep your racing alive. And Mark Gardner, hi to both of you guys.
Hey, okay. Mark, expecting you to have your car ready for the 22nd. I don't want to hear no. And Billy better have his hobby stock done.
I think I haven't seen Mark for quite a while. I may be wrong on that.
We're buddies. We do a lot of things together. I sponsored him a little bit last year.
I just put his sign up. I don't know if you read it or not. That Winning Attitudes Motorsports, one of my best sponsors. So.
Oh yeah. Well, we went to the awards banquet. And we try to do things together whenever possible. Great family. I mean, I raced with his dad for years.
Yeah.
And stuff. All the old Antioch crew. Whenever Ed Sands and I moved up to Antioch, and then I continued on after that with my stuff.
In fact, there's been about 4 drivers from Petaluma that got a hold of me on the email or on Facebook here. we haven't seen it for quite a few years. When I left back there in '97, I think it was.
Yeah.
But they're still going strong.
Yeah, so we're kind of enthusiastic about all this. We've got a number of people have contacted us. They're building pro stocks. And I think, the whole idea of the class is to either buy an old used car and tune it up a little bit, or like the guys down in Taft, they built a brand new a Longhorn chassis, best of the best stuff last year, and they're fast, but they don't win every time. They do win. Don't get me wrong, they're fast and they do win, but we're competitive. Even my 25-year-old Leaf car has been competitive with them at the right track, at the right time, with the right setup and the right driver. So that's the whole point of this. You don't have to build a $130,000 super late model because nobody on the West Coast can afford to promote them. It costs so much money to run them.
Quick thing about that, what I've noticed throughout the years, I would say from Texas on east of there, especially with the IMCA cars, they've got a lot of money in their cars, a lot. And I mean, we're talking ridiculous money in them.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to the West Coast.
Oh, yeah. No, if I told you what my cousin spends on his A mod and what he spends on his super late model, his shop is right in between GRT and Shaw. They're in Batesville. His main business is reclipping the cars that those guys don't have time to fix. He's got my old frame jig from 1999. That's what he's been using all these years.
Well, he better give you a little percentage of it.
No, well, we do stuff back and forth. I mean,
I was just joking on that one.
Oh, damn, no, but he offered me a Longhorn complete roller for a ridiculously low price. It's just, no, I want my frame jig back. No, you're never getting it back. Okay, all right.
I'm making too much money on it.
I see how that is, cuz he's out there making a living. I could care less. I mean, I'm not in the business of building complete cars anymore. I'll repair something here and there when I need to, but I'm not doing that. Actually, Dana Stahl and I just had this conversation in the middle of last summer.
It's like you said, we've known each other for, like 100 years, but I've seen a lot of people busy, not busy. You are like during the season are busy 24 hours a day.
Yeah. We'll, we're trying to do our best to have some fun.
Yeah.
And keep racing alive on the West Coast. And in our divisions, we have an opportunity to keep the cost down so that more people can participate without, mortgaging the house 3 times. Certain divisions, there's nothing you can do about it. You cannot run a 360 or a 410 sprint car on the West Coast on a budget. It just doesn't.
No, you can't do it anymore.
You're not going to be in the top 15. You'd be lucky to be in the top 20. So, and that's fine, because that's kind of what the Kyle Larson, Brad Sweet thing is all about. Their idea when they got into this venture at Chico, they were talking about, pumping short track business up and making it great again. The thing is, their vision was involving sprint cars. They really weren't looking at hobby stocks or sport mods or A mods or things of that nature. Fortunately, other people, Kenny Schrader, Kenny Wallace, some others have really helped. Matt Crafton has stuck his toe in from time to time. So when you get these big NASCAR guys delving into it, it helps. But the thing is, it's helping the Midwest and the East and the South. It is not helping the West Coast right now. So we'll see. We'll see if we can't do that. We have several other fun things we're looking at getting accomplished. That would bring some of those people out here for specialty events. And we're working on that. No announcements at this time, but Tony has some ideas. I've got some ideas, and we'll work on that. So I've covered the swap meet. I've covered our schedule, and you can find everything you need to know on that. The hobby stock rules will be up on my website probably by the end of the week, or maybe a little bit after, definitely before the swap meet on the 8th. They'll also be on the Stockton website because, like I said, the A mod, Sport mod, pretty straight up. We're using the Watsonville, Merced, Antioch rules for the modifieds. The hobby stocks, we're trying to be a little more inclusive. Bartlett and Cooper had a great thing they did there for that year. But what I'm getting is there's a number of guys that have been sitting because certain things were not allowed. Well, we're going to allow as much of that as we can, as long as we don't let somebody get an unfair competitive advantage. Same thing with the Pro Stock Series. You can run an old car, you can run a leaf car, you can run a coil car, but we're putting enough restrictions and or weight penalties to keep it competitive so that these 25-year-old cars can race with these brand new ones. And that's the concept, and that's what we're working on. And now somehow I've let myself get involved in this vintage super modified thing, but I'm actually getting pretty excited about it. The fact that Hurst is willing to get involved in the dirt side, and Bill Hopper and his group because I ran with those guys in Bill's car at Lakeport last year, I think it was. There's some serious races over there. These guys have got 410s in these old cars that look like the old upright supers from back in the day.
But are they the 2x4? Or are they
2x4, 2x3? Some of them are full square tube the whole way. But,
oh wow!
Building 410 motor, injected 410 motors, but they've got modern coilovers, modern hubs, modern brakes, and all the safety equipment. And that's the rule that I believe Bill is going off of. You got to have enough square tubing to call it a super modified. It cannot be a sprint car, because there is a vintage sprint car program. But what we're looking at here is giving a place for these guys to race. And like Bill's car is a replica of a West Capitol car, but it was built in 2005 or 6. So it's not new, but it's not old. And he's running a 602 crate, and that thing is pretty fast. He's racing on these shorter tracks like Lakeport. You're not very far off from these guys with 410s, because you got the center speed and they can't really use all that motor.
Yeah.
So we're working on that. If this goes well at Stockton 99, we'll probably be able to pick up some more events there. Was working with the previous promoter at Shasta, but that's changed hands. So we're working on that. And then there's still the Lakeport Ukiah deal. So this may develop for 2026 into a 6 or 8 race circuit for those guys. It's what we're kind of looking for. But it'll be real racing. I don't really see an opportunity to go south, maybe Roseville. I don't think Shepherd is interested in something like that at this point, and that's fine. So then, and Kern is just too fast. You go on the half mile at Kern, these cars are not going to go there and be safe.
No.
So,
in fact, both his tracks are fast.
Yeah. Well, Roseville's a possibility. I mean, we'll talk to them as well. But I'm kind of excited about that, to try and get these cars back. So we have multiple things going on. We have the swap meet. We have the West Coast Pro Stock schedule. We have the events at Stockton that I'm going to be directly involved in all divisions whenever we're there, which is the only times I won't be there is when SCCT or NARC runs. Although I think in November we have one event, SCCT and Pro Stocks are there, and I think it might be West Coast Dwarf Cars or something are there at the same time. That will be an all. Rick will take care of the SCCT group. I'll take care of the Pro Stocks, and the other guy's his own deal. And that's kind of what Tony's looking for, is people that can handle their own divisions and take the weight off him and his group. Nassetti Group has got their fingers in, the Asparagus Festival, the Garlic Festival, the Monster Truck deal, the asphalt track, the dirt track. They're getting spread kind of thin. And even though those ladies are really good, and Tony is really good to work with, but I've known that.
Stockton being one of the premier racetracks in California. I mean, it is almost, but it's going to be a.
That's where we're going. That's where we're going. We're trying to make this the big track in the middle of the country or middle of the state, and go with that. I mean, we're also hoping to lend some support to Calistoga, but that's an up in the air deal as well with everybody that's involved in that. I mean, we wish Tony good luck with that program. And if we can do anything to support him. But we're back to the same concept. We need to support the Oregon guys. We need to support the Petaluma guys. We need to support the SoCal guys. And if we can ever get anything rolling in Nevada, those guys for the Pro Stocks. And that will build a series on the West Coast that it's going to pay a lot of money and not have to buy an expensive car. At the same time, we're trying to use that as a springboard with Stockton to increase Stockton's net worth there. If we can get that to where we're running big time sprint car shows and big time stock car shows, Tony will spend the money for a few extra dates, and we can get full seasons in, crown champions, and have the full tilt thing like you would normally have instead of just a specialty track like he is right now. But again, for somebody that's doing that, he's putting in an inordinate amount of work and money into the new configuration of the track. He
How's
wants
that new track?
yeah,
I haven't seen it or
it's
seen it in race on. Is it racy still or?
it is now racy. Originally, it wasn't very good. I'll be as honest as I can about that. It sucked at first. It improved a little bit and a little bit. Then it got better. And then at the end of the season, it was pretty awesome. There were some really good sprint car shows there. The K-rail got put in the back. The turns have been reconfigured. He's working on that. The dirt got turned around. And I put a lot of that on Alan Patchen. Him coming on board has really turned the corner on that track. And that's kind of where I'm at with Cedarville. Since it's a once or twice a year facility, it's mainly a horse facility. Making that track good again is going to be tough, but I think I found the right person to help me do that and trying to make it good. We'll make it a, Friday night camp out, practice session, camp out, chili bean thing, spend the night, because that's a camping place. Everybody spends the night there, kind of deal. And then race on Saturday and then partied up again on Saturday night. And then everybody can go home on Sunday. But Cedarville, I don't foresee that being more than a 2-race project at any given year. But we're already working on, again, May 10th is going to be the tough one. We are in conflict with the Outlaw Pro Stocks on that one. Hopsies was unable to change that date, and we totally understand. But the July race is looking really good, and we will have Pro Stocks, Vintage Super Modifieds, and Champ Cars, and Hobby Stocks. And we're trying to make that a big paying race for July for sure, and a pretty good one. I mean, the July race, I'm doing 2,000 to win, 200 to start at Cedarville for the Pro Stocks. And there is a tow money program on top of that. So
yeah, I'm excited about Cedarville. I love that track.
Yeah, well, I've never been there. It's one of the few tracks that I've never been to and or much less raced on. And as you touched on Oildale closing, we've won races there. I mean, Bobby Hogue won the Bud Nationals for me. Jerry Flippos won the Bud Nationals for me and all that. I have never turned a lap on that track. I've on damn near every other track on the West Coast, but I never turned a lap at Oildale. Now I never will. So,
well, just jump in the car real quick and say you did.
Oh yeah, no, we don't do that. Either I did or I didn't, and if I didn't, I didn't. I mean, we ran Riverside, but I never ran Ontario. So back in the old Winston West days.
The race fans are up there or something else. They'd love their racing there.
Oh yeah, that's what I hear, and we're going to try and put on a good show.
Yeah.
So as many people in the hobby stock, pro stock division that can make it May 10th, we would love to have you to help us out with that.
Oh, I'll be there. Because like I said, I talked to Gina last night, Gonzalez.
Yeah.
They're working on the loop to make it permanent loop back again. So
yeah. That's why I'm going up there in 2 weeks, or no, the week after the swap meet. I'm going up there on that weekend and having a meeting with the new track prep guy that used to do it. And we're going to do all the things that we talked about between him and I to fix the track. I really didn't want to get into track prep again ever, but I didn't want to be a promoter again, but here we are. I see a need and I hope I can help. So that's kind of it. I think that's a lot of information. If anybody has any questions, if you get on right now before it's time to go, great. If not, you can go to westcoastprostocks.com or you can find me on Facebook and Instagram.
That's what I was going to ask you. Where can they go for the prostock.com? So
yeah, westcoastprostocks.com, and Coast is with an S. Pro Stocks is stock is with an S. The website's up. And if you can't find us there, you can always go to Facebook for either Lyle Hopper, West Coast Pro Stocks, or Winning Attitude Motorsports. Same thing with Instagram. So we have multiple ways of getting hold of us. We have a lot of sponsors that have come on board already. We have some more we're talking with. If you do go to the westcoastprostocks.com website, when you go to the sponsors list, about 3/4 of the sponsors, if you just click on their logo, it will take you to their website. So if you want information about Hoosier Tires, click on the on the Hoosier Tire logo, and it will take you to Hoosier West's website, and you can get all the information you want there. Mitsubishi Reno, same thing. Brand Creative, same thing. So if either want to talk to them and tell them something, or good or bad, because not everybody loves you.
That's for sure, especially in racing.
Oh, well, we just had this conversation with somebody the other day, and it was like, if you don't have people that hate you, you haven't been racing, period. It's just the way it is, because it's a personality program. That's fine. It is what it is. So we're moving forward with all these things. We're looking to try and pump Stockton Dirt Track up for the future, but we need support. The more that we can show that we can do this, the more that we're going to be able to do it. It's just it's a circle. You got to prove to get, you got to get to prove. Same thing with West Coast Pro Stocks. We're just going to run with this 3-quarter schedule this year, and next year we'll be looking at a much bigger program. I got several people that are waiting in the wings. They just want to see how this year goes, and we're looking pretty good. We're getting a lot of support.
Okay, first race at Stockton, when is it?
First race at Stockton is February 22nd.
I'll be there, buddy.
Yeah, that will not be a Pro Stock show. That will be Sprint Cars Modifieds. The first Pro Stock show.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, the first Pro Stock show at Stockton is the Al Miller Memorial, May 24th.
I'll be there for that one.
Yeah. Well, Robert plans on being there, my understanding, and we're trying to get him in a car. Obviously Randy will be there, but we've got commitments from all the same big name guys in all the other divisions. And I'm getting a lot of Northern California hobby stock guys that haven't had any place to race. And now that Wairika's closed and Medford doesn't really run hobby stocks, they're excited about coming because it's only
hang on here.
A couple hour tow.
Hello. I'll be there, buddy. It's Tony. That's Eddie. Lyle's laughing. He's laughing.
Where were you an hour ago when this all
you're
started?
on here. Let me hit you up on some. How in the heck did you really team up with Lyle here? Yeah, I know. I've noticed that through the last couple of years.
What, that I'm losing my hair?
Buddy, I'm going to be there. I kept saying that. I'm going to be there this year for sure for quite a few shows. Well, thank you, Tony. And it's always good. I mean, it's been a while. It's been about 3 years since I've seen you. I think about 3 or 4 years. No, I was kind of down in the weather on that week there, so I didn't make it up there. So. Well, if it's one thing in the state of California, the quality of racetrack announcers up there, oh my God. I got a funny feeling they're probably the best in the nation right now. I'll be there. Okay, Tony. All right. Thanks for calling in, Tony. It's glad to have you on here. Thank you. Take care. Say hi to everybody back there. Did you hear what he was saying?
No.
Oh, doggone it.
I probably already heard it, but
Yeah.
They're not talking bad about you. They're lying.
I asked him, he says, I don't know. I just found him on the street, I guess, talking about you. But yeah, you guys doing a great job over there. And that's what he said too. I got a quick question. Where'd you go? Eddie, Jared. Oh, Jared Mattis, chance of Pro Stocks in Chico.
Nil at this point. We are having difficulty getting any real traction on that. I'm hoping that by Stockton and Placerville and these other tracks up here and growing to a bigger deal, that we'll be able to get back in. But right now they're not interested in us. They want to run their hobby stock sport mod as their support to their sprint car program. And that's fine. That's how it goes. We would love to go back to Chico, but honestly, West Coast Pro Stocks isn't ready. And I don't know anybody else is in this division of car that could really go there and put on the type of show that they're expecting. I had an idea there that was going to be kind of a shootout program, but we have not been able to put that together. I ran it by Tony just the other night, and he was like, well, why don't we do it in Stockton? So when we get closer, we'll let you know. But as far as racing at Chico, definitely not this year. I don't truly foresee it for next year, but you never know. I mean, Brad and Kobe are paying attention. So we'll see.
That's good. Do you see what I just put up there right now?
Was that Gene Gwynn? Pro stocks don't have wings. Good. That means you haven't been looking on the roof of my car very closely. Richard Brace caught it a couple of years ago when he was rebodiing his car. He came up here to pick up some parts he ordered and stuff, and he looked at my car and he goes, your roof is a stinking wing. It's like, well, it fits the rules.
It fits the rules.
I didn't write the rule. I've just made it fit, and we're still under that same rule. But it's more for looks than anything else, and for fun, because the speeds that we're traveling, even though there's some tracks we were hitting 85, 90 at the end of the straightaway, it's very little effect because it's minimal. The chassis is more important than aerodynamics in this division. It's not like we got a big old wing like a sprint car hung up on the top, or full wedge cars like the Lucas or Woo cars. There, the aerodynamics matter. Here, particularly with the tracks that we're running, since we no longer have the big track at Stockton or Hanford, really it's about Petaluma, and the track's got so much moisture in it 90% of the time. That's more about the chassis than the aero.
Yeah.
So there's not a great deal of aero in this division with the current facilities. Now, if we ever could get ourselves into something like Calistoga, there would be an aero component to the way the cars run and handle. And that's one of the reasons it would have to be rethunk on what we're going to do if we were ever invited to race there to make it better. I was there in 2015, I think it was, with Bobby Hogue. We ran the modified with a aluminum headed 18-degree motor, I believe. And we ran his super late model at the time. And it was a great show. Drake actually won, if I remember right, the late models. Bobby, I think, won the modifieds, but Bobby led the first half of that. But those cars on that track put on a hell of a show. They really do. So I would hope that maybe the powers that be at Calistoga would take a look at that in the future. And since our cars essentially are late model looking bodies, and the cars with 700 horsepower, alcohol, and national late model tires are pretty damn quick. So, we do allow 8-inch tires, and we give them a weight break to make them competitive. So, but we got some good talent too. The people that have been running the front end of this division are really good drivers. And so they get door to door and all that stuff. That's one thing we will be watching closely at the West Coast Pro Stocks. We're not going to put up with a lot of nonsense of tearing cars up for no good reason. I mean, you bump and bang and tear stuff up enough, just racing clean. Some of these tracks are allowing some pretty stupid slide jobs and nonsense, and we're just not going to do that. So, I do remember if it was Robert or who the hell it was said it years ago, you'd black flag your mother if she did something wrong. I said, yeah. This is racing, dude. It takes money, and we don't want to tear cars up for no good reason.
Yeah, some of these tracks forgot what black flag is.
Yeah, and even if you can't get to them with a black flag at the moment of the deal, you can go to them after and talk to them about it and fine them or suspend them. Back in the day, there was a period of time there, Ed Sands and I were suspended on a regular basis. We were constantly getting kicked out for fighting or this or rough driving or that Ed Sands Tim Balding deal at Watsonville that year. When that happened, I was sitting there in turn 2 going, Ed, what are you doing? This is going to go bad. And it did. Later on at the shop, we had a few words about stupid driving and trying too hard.
Well, Watsonville, I hate to say it, but it's always been like that. Sometimes that's what brings the fans back.
Well, and I'll go back to John Sorey's idiom on that one. If you're going to fight somebody, do not do it in my pit area. If you're going to fight them, do it on the front straightaway so the fans can see it. So that's one of the things that we're also trying to instill in our group. This is entertainment. We look at it as racing in our own little bubble, trying to race and win. We want to be the winner. We want that pride. We want that adulation. if we don't make it an entertaining show, the fans aren't going to be there. And right now, Antioch and Merced are struggling because there's no fans. So we're hoping that they get the things rolling again. But I mean, we got informed that Merced was going out for bid at one point. Fortunately, Stone and Lockwood were able to sort that out, get it going again, and they've got a full schedule. And Antioch, you know, I know their average car count and their average fan count in particular, mainly the fan count, has not been good for the last couple of years. And there's a lot of crashing and a lot of banging and a lot of toward cars. It's not bringing the fans in, right? So why do that? Why don't we race and make exciting racing and let the promoters get out there and do the right kind of promotions that will bring fans in? I mean, you can't go out and spend $50,000 worth of TV advertising. It doesn't work. And just putting stuff on social media doesn't bring a whole lot of people in. There are many other things that need to be done. Part of what we're doing this year at West Coast Pro Stocks is the week before each of our events, any given track, we're going to that area. And whatever works for the track, whether it's putting up banners, whether it's putting out flyers and going to the local auto parts and convenience stores, whether it's bringing a car and putting it into a car club show, we're trying to coordinate with them, and we'll do it all on our dime. We're not asking those promoters for anything other than the information to help them promote the track at each track. So we're going to be doing these external events, trying to raise some enthusiasm.
I know years and years ago, started at the old San Jose Speedway, and they took it over to the fairgrounds as Barkheimer knew what he was doing. Uh-oh, did we lose you? Oh, we lost Lyle. Oh, well. Lyle, was nice having you on here. I don't know what happened. Your phone might have gone dead, but it's nice having you on here. We're going to have you on just before the season starts. Oh, okay. No, I guess I lost him, but I'll give him a call after all and thank him for coming on. You had a lot of good information there, Lyle, and I will be there for some of the races there. In fact, I just got off the phone with Tony and said if I told him I'll be there, I'm going to have to be there. There you are. Let me get you back on here. There you are.
You got me back?
I got you back. What'd you have to go to the bathroom?
I can't hear you, Davey.
You can't? Uh-oh. I don't know why, but hang on here. Well, we lost him again. But again, good having him. I'll give him a phone call. Before we leave here, I want to make sure I get this into. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Dan, I got your message, and I'll call you back on the reason why. Jacob Diaz was on here. I want to thank him for coming aboard, too, and the rest of everybody else. Eddie, it was good to have you on here. Yeah.
All right. You got me again?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
I'm just telling everybody what a great pleasure it was having you on here. We're going to have you on again right towards the beginning of the first race there that you're going to put up there in Stockton. Get that thing all pumped up, and definitely for Cedarville for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That was a problem on my side. And really, that was about it. You and I were down to the BS session about the old days.
Oh, so, Barkheimer.
Oh, but yeah, Barkheimer.
A lot of people didn't know he had those guys do all that on purpose. It brought in a lot of race fans, all the feud and everything else.
Right. Yeah. Well, that was the deal the whole Sargent deal of breaking the flags, right? My understanding, and I'm not 100% sure on the accuracy of this, but Sargent did it all on his own.
Yeah.
And the fans went wild. So then Barkey went over and told them, every other week something goes wrong, do the same thing and I'll give you $100 or whatever it was, $50. And that's kind of the deal. I mean, at the fairgrounds, it happened, I think at the second season I was with Ed Sands. Something happened. He came sliding down on the front straightaway up to, it was probably Roy Large at the time, and got out and screaming and yelling. And I didn't want us to get disqualified. So I shoved him back in the car. Well, I could hear the crowd and we knew what was going on. When we had a bunch of fans come down afterwards, fight this, that, blah, blah. So we came to the conclusion the best thing here was from now on, Anytime you're going to do that, what's going to happen is I'm going to give you about 30 seconds of making a scene, and I'm going to come shove you back in the car, and you're going to go back out on the track and race. And it worked for us, and it gained us a lot of fans, and it gave a lot of entertainment value to the fans. And fortunately for us at those days, Ed would go back out there and start 17th or 16th or whatever, and he would charge back to the top three, if not a win. So, I mean, there were times where you just couldn't do anything with Ray Morgan or Dave Bird or Larry Lund. They were too fast. You couldn't get Greg Williams. You couldn't get to them, but you could get within second or third. So the charge through was always fun. But we realized that putting that on, now we never got paid for any of that, but it got us a lot of fans. It got us a lot of exposure. Yeah. We got help from PRE. We got help from Hoosier Tire. We got help from people because they were hearing about these things through like Racing Wheels and Speed Sport News, because we didn't have all the internet stuff we have today. But that's, again, going back to that thing I was talking about. The entertainment value is what
that's a lot of entertainment. I mean, you're going to have the racing regardless. You got to have that entertainment going as well.
Right. Well, a lot of racers have never realized that part of what we're doing is entertainment. Uh-huh. You know, Ed figured it out pretty quick. I mean, we used to go in, we had black pants and shirts with orange and white stripes and everything. We had uniforms when everybody else, when they first would allow that, you know, it was either white pants or a true uniform. We had them. That's what we did. And it set us out. You could tell an Ed Sands crewman or by the clothes he was wearing, until that rule finally went by the wayside on the white pants deal. But it was showmanship. You got to do some showmanship. That's all there is. Yeah. You know, so we're always open to ideas. Matter of fact,
that's bring that back.
Yeah. Matter of fact, that's one thing I did not touch base on. We're trying to work on a program for the West Coast Pro Stocks. I need the guys out there that are going to run with us a driver profile. So if you've got a picture and you can give me a quick profile, either send it through the westcoastprostocks.com or Facebook, or if you have my private information, send me that, because we're going to get that up on the website. We're going to use that, and when we go to certain tracks. So, you know, we'd like to do some stuff at Reno Mitsubishi. We'd like to do some stuff at Verde Distilleries. We'd like to do some stuff at Brand Creative. We'd like to be able to do things there. And part of that would entail having a large thing with our driver roster, headshots, car shots, whatever, and bios. We'll get that up on the website so you can go to sponsors and talk to them about this is the exposure you're getting, and we can use that. I haven't got a firm deal yet, but we're looking at the Hero Card program. What we would like to do is our guys that follow us, the series, do a Hero Card program. And then at events where we're having, you know, multiple divisions, the break in between, or especially if there's some extra track prep going on, have our frontline drivers take those Hero Cards into the grandstands, sign them, and then at the end of the night, if they win the main event, those people that have them get to come down and get their picture taken.
That's awesome.
And that was a Richard Brace idea. Richard came up with that, and we just haven't implemented it. Well, now we're going to.
That's awesome. Hey, if you ever get anything going to Mitsubishi here in Marina, let me know, and I'll show up for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Travis Peterson Racing thing. Matter of fact, Travis has just started or bought out his own auctioning company as well as working at there. So when we get organized on that, I'm hoping to do that midsummer and get in front of Hot August Nights, because it's a nightmare out there. It's a zoo. It's a lot of fun, but it's a zoo.
Well, if you guys are there at Hot August Nights, I'll be there opening that for the drag race, and I always go live out there for the radio.
Yeah. So we're working on that, and you know, Winnemucca, Battle Mountain, Fallon are not out of the question. I just don't see it for 2025, and that's another situation where the economics don't work out very well, because you got to have a pretty good sized tow money package to bring people out of SoCal or NorCal to get them there. And those tracks have small grandstands, and I understand that. You cannot ask them for top money if they can't pack the grandstands. That's why Cedarville has turned out to be a really interesting deal. They can provide the kind of money for the purse that will make it work, because everybody comes.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how small Cedarville is in the surrounding towns around there to help them out.
Oh, it was a shock to me when I looked this all up last year. I was like, really? And they packed their grandstands. Yep, every time. So
I keep telling everybody that first race we had there, when Gordy had it,
yep.
ran out of beer by the second heat, ran out of food, everything.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
No, the fans didn't like that, so they double stocked the following year. They almost did it again, though. So we drank the town dry, too, after the races.
Yeah. No, I'll be meeting with the representatives from the fair board and the partial crew that we're hiring to help us put this on here in a couple of weeks. But that's definitely one of the topics. Part of the agreement with them is they get to keep all the concessions.
Yeah.
And I want them to do well. I need them to do well, just like that's the same program, at Stockton. I need that to go do well. I need that to get fans in the stands and food and beer out the door so that it's profitable. And we're trying to work with our other tracks, Placerville and Santa Maria and et cetera, to try and pump it up instead of just standing there going, we're bringing our cars, pay us. No. And social media is not the answer. It's a help. It's part of it.
It helps.
Absolutely. But it's not all of it. There's a lot more effort that is required. It's just required. That's one of the things that really drew me to working with Tony. The man works his ass off.
Yep.
He really does. So, we're kind of the same way. And we're old schools. We're kind of handshake kind of guys. There are some guys I wouldn't touch without a contract and a lawyer standing next to me. But Tony's one of those guys where whatever you want, dude. We're done. That's going to happen. And if it doesn't, I'm going to tell you why. And we're going to tell you how I'm going to fix it. That kind of deal. That's what you do. In my opinion, this is all my opinion on this portion.
Well, Lyle, like I said, I want to thank you for coming on. We've been on there for almost an hour and a half, which is a little bit over. I know, want to thank the people on Instagram. I finally got them aboard, but they only allow me to stay on there for 1 hour.
Well, it's their loss. It's their loss.
But it's okay. At least we're on YouTube and back on here, and I still got to work out some of the crinks. I don't know what's going on here. I thought I had it all fixed up, especially the phone call. You should have been able to hear Tony come in.
Yeah.
But, oh, well, I'll get those things
right.
But again, we'll have you on before the season starts there for you guys there, right there in Stockton or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, thank you for all the information. Again, one more time, the website is
westcoastprostocks.com. And we hope to see as many people as want to make some money at the Stockton swap meet on February 8th, rain and shine. And we'll go from there. We'll be there February 22nd, putting on a race. So if you got a sprint car, a 360, or an A-Mod, Sport Mod, or Hobby Stock, come on down. We're going to be throwing some money at you.
If I wasn't so old, Lyle, I don't even know if I got one of my old racing uniforms out in here anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's one of those things. I didn't realize it until we got to talking, because I raced against Tony once or twice back in the day at Stockton and Altamont. I didn't realize I'm older than he is.
Yeah.
It's like, we're getting old, dude.
I'm a little bit old. I'm 74 now, so.
Yeah, I'm 68. So, I'm trying to follow the Larry DeMitz program and get in the seat as often as I still can. But last year I only did a hot lap session. The year before, nothing. It's been 2 years since I ran a race.
Even while back, he's even still winning main events at his age.
Well, that's the thing. I am no Larry DeMitz. Never have been. Never will be.
Yeah.
But as long as I can still get in the car and have some fun once in a while, that's what I'm hoping for. But right now, the health of the West Coast racing scene has some positive, but they all have wings on them.
Yeah.
It has some negatives, which is pretty much everybody else. But even the wing guys, with the number of tracks that are dropping by like flies, we need to support Kern to make sure that stays. We need to support Santa Maria, make sure that stays. If we can centralize things at Stockton, great. Then you have your exterior tracks. Placerville's pretty good. They've got a good program up there. Scott does really good up there in McCamey. So there's some tracks that are okay, but most of them need help. And that's kind of what we're hoping to do.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for having us on and letting me get all this out to the gang. And
try to get some sleep once in a while, will you?
What is that? I'll sleep when I'm dead, which will probably be next week because I'll be so tired I'll get hit by a bus, but okay.
All right, buddy. Say hi to the family there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is Ty Schmidt still down?
I don't think so. He
All
hasn't
right.
come on here, so
He
I'll
got
get
the
a hold of him.
information.
Let him know
Hopefully he'll
what's
go
happening.
back to. He got the information. Hopefully we'll go back to Mark and Mike and get that going. They got till August to get their shit together.
I think Mike is done.
Yes and no. His health is pretty bad in some ways, but he's getting better. And he's the same thing as I am. I bet money that for one race here or there, they'll throw the car together and come out.
No, Mike will never do that. You know that. He'll put it together if it takes him a long time. He doesn't do things overnight.
No, but the 77 car is basically there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That one there. Yeah.
So that's the car they would run, not the offset. They would run that one. Change the oil, put some fuel in it, come run.
I just hope he gets better. I really do.
Yeah, well, Dana Stahl and I had this conversation a ways back. I mean, me, Mike, and Dana, we're the last of the guys that used to build these kinds of cars. And I was a young guy. Those were the guys I looked up to. I copied a lot of what they did because I didn't know any better, so I used them as templates. But we did do that work, and we were some of the last of the real chassis builders. I mean, Dana still builds a car or two a year, but his health is horrible too.
Yeah, I used to be able to do that too. Not complete, but they were teaching me a lot. But one of my biggest jobs, if it crashed out, bed frames, I get the torch and I got to cut it all up. That was my big night.
Now it's a Sawzall.
Yeah, it's Sawzall. I know. I killed that place. All right, Lyle.
All right,
good
sir.
to have you on here, buddy.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, that's it. I got a couple more things I want to say, and I want to get a little personal. I hope everybody is still on here. I owe an apology to a lot of people out here, California and here in Nevada. Susan, how are you, sweetie? But hang on here. About 6 years ago, my blood pressure went sky high, and they thought I was having a heart attack, but I didn't. It was just my blood pressure. So they put me on a blood pressure pill, and I'd been taking that one pill since 7 months ago. But in between a lot of that, I had bad depression setting in. Hey, Brent Lawrence is on here. Just hear that, Lyle? Brent's on here. But anyhow, it set in. We couldn't figure out where this depression was coming from, and it got bad. I mean, I knew it. It affected some of my announcing and talking to people around here or in California. So I called one of my nurses from Stanford that I had for one of my cancer operations. I love that nurse. She's smart. So she says, let me look at your file and what you're taking right now. So she's calling back 2 days later. And she says, that first pill they put you on for your blood pressure? Yeah. She goes, get off that pill right now. That's what's causing your depression. I went to go see maybe 3, I don't call them psychiatrists. They call them, I forgot. Anyway, they couldn't figure out what was going on, but she did. The doctor did. I got off that pill about 7 months ago, and that depression is completely gone. So at this time, I do want to apologize to everybody that I might have said something wrong to or treated you wrong because of that depression, but it's all gone now, and I'm really looking forward. In fact, at that point, I was going to quit everything, fishing, racing, everything, and just stay home. That's it. But I feel like everything's back again to normal. I don't know what normal is, but I don't think anybody else knows what. But again, I do want to apologize to everybody out there about that. So what's the new medication? Ron, about 3 years ago, a lot of you remember, I ended up in the hospital every year for the same thing, every year for about 3 years. And they finally figured it out because of one of my cancer operations, which was on the liver. They put a staple in me, and it got infected 20-something years later. And my doctor said, yeah, it may or may not, but it did. That's why I ended up in the hospital for 3 years in a row. And that's when they put me on 2 different pills until they gave me 3 pills to take for my heart pressure. But got off that one pill. Yeah, it's great. Don't ask me the name of them because they're about that long. I hate that when they have medication names on. But again, I just want to make a big apologies to everybody out there. And let's look for a good year here in 2025. And I'm so proud of this next thing, though. But again, I apologize to everybody. A lot of you know I'm with the Sheriff's Department Search and Rescue here. But 2 weeks ago, took some tracking. So if you get lost, I'll track you by your feet or whatever, your footprints. I got qualified for level 1 tracker. My certificate's coming in the mail soon, and I'll be headed for level 2 for tracking in September. So that's another big thing I am very, very proud of to be able to say. Thank you, Ron. Yeah, I am feeling a lot better. But again, the gentleman that came in and gave us the training, he's probably the best tracker in the world. He's very, very busy, and he's not cheap to hold the classes either. So, but I've got qualified and registered now as a level 1 tracker, which is a good thing. So, all right, everybody, I want to thank for tuning in. We'll be back here next Wednesday at 6 p.m. for Davey's American Racing. If you want to be part of the show and brought on here, talk about your racing or your racetrack or some of your promoters that were out there want to talk about you're coming up, get a hold of me and we'll put you on there. In the meantime, I got to work on the phone side there. You should have been able to hear the conversation between me and Tony Nassetti because I got it all hooked up to my little platform over here. Thank you, Susan. Yeah, thank you. Doing really, really good. But we'll see you next week. Until then, take care and God bless.